Hey everyone.
Hey everyone.
So we're back again with a podcast that we have actually rung someone up and had a chat with them. And we've never done that before, have we, Bec?
That makes it sound like we've just rung up some random person. We actually do know these people.
We do know these people. We did a workshop with them and now we're going to have a chat with them about it.
So we'd like to welcome Ayrlea and Kayla.
Hey, howdy.
So we did this workshop with you probably 3 months ago.
Around 3 months, yeah.
Take us through the process. What happened?
Kayla and I had a spare room, our music room, and we wanted to do a bit of artwork on the wall.
Create it, make it more ourselves.
Yeah, so that's when you guys come in and to make it something that was combined with both our hobbies and interests. So yeah, we got to write some interesting things up on the wall.
Let's go to that bit. First part was you wanting to create something in that space, but the next part was you sharing your fears with each other.
Yeah, it was pretty much just sharing our fears and our insecurities about what we have personally and with our partner ourselves. The idea behind it was to express how we feel and write that down for the other person to see and then wipe it clear. So now we've said how we feel, let's wipe it clear so we can agree and acknowledge that we've got these feelings and fears and just start from there.
And were any of those fears that were written on the wall surprising to you?
I think previously we'd communicated with a lot of those, but for me, I think Kayla said one that kind of upset me a lot, like about not feeling pretty enough, and that I think that caused a bit of heartache for me because it sucks that she doesn't see what I see, but I felt like we had spoken about a lot of it, but it let us talk about it a bit more in depth, I think.
And a bit more open with each other about it rather than just a casual conversation sort of thing.
Yeah, nice. And I remember that moment when she wrote that on the wall and both myself and you started crying.
Yeah, I did too. I was filming everything, but I was having a little tear in the background.
Yeah, and then honestly we rewatched it yesterday and I cried again.
It was really hard, like for me, like knowing that Kayla doesn't see what I see, and I think that was a bit of a slap in the face that I kind of need to pull my socks up a bit and just make her see what I see.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that is beautiful because it is being able to express our fears. That's something which, as you said, you've talked about before. So there's things that you've had conversations about. And this time it was different because this time you actually wrote it on a wall, like it was in big letters and you could both see it. So it was you expressing it and then your partner being able to read it, which to me is even more powerful.
Yeah, and I think like for me, I use that space a lot with my study and play a bit of drums in there, and I guess every time I walk in it's kind of like a bit of a reminder like of everything in a good way, not a bad way. Like, yeah, we spoke about this and I better make sure I keep working on it. It's kind of just,
but it really did help in a lot of ways, especially in regards to that one itself. Like Ayrlea always tells me now how beautiful I am and she makes sure I know. So it was an experience that really helped us as a couple to express the way we feel more towards each other.
Oh, that's just made my day.
I think Bec's crying again.
I am. I'm crying again.
I can brag about.
I look like a real sook. I don't cry easy either.
But yeah, we get to take people in there now and be like, look what we did, and we get to brag about it. We've got our own little space and it's just cool and fun now.
That's so nice. And that's actually what we were hoping for, that it's not just a wall that you painted together, which is awesome. Like, that's awesome. But it's got a bit more depth to it now, doesn't it?
I think Kayla and I keep that little bit secret for us and we don't really tell everyone about it.
It's our thing. It's something that we did together that, you know, you guys helped us with, and it really helped us realise a few things that we didn't know about each other. And
was there anything else that came up in those fears for you?
For meeting and running away, it was hard for me to write it. It just made me feel a little uncomfortable, but once I wrote it down, it was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. A little bit of a weight lifted, not so much Kayla knowing.
Yeah, because that was one that I didn't know about, was the running away. I wasn't aware of that one until that day either.
Once I write it down, I've got to talk about it now.
Yeah, and you explained it beautifully because you said, oh, it's not that I want to run away from Kayla. I just sometimes want to run away from the situation or, you know, what's happening or the whatever disagreement it is. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, wanting to just avoid or run away from the situation. But you explained it beautifully well. It wasn't running away from the person. It was running away from what's happening.
And I think like that's kind of come up recently. Like I've been having a bit of a tough time like with COVID and not being able to do sport and my stress of uni, and like having that pre-warning for Kayla, and like it makes it easier for me to talk about it in the moment. I say to Kayla, like, it's not that I want to run from you, remember, it's more like everything just seems a lot. So it was kind of that security for Kayla, knowing it's not her, it's me.
So we felt that this process would get people to go really deep, really quick, but move stuff that is concerning to them in a very different way. How do you think this would compare to if you two were to go to couples counselling and sit with someone and just talk about things?
I think the fun has a lot to do with it. Like, oh, well, we may as well just go and do it, because you're not sitting face to face and having to confront each other about your emotions. You're in a comfortable and relaxed environment. You're doing something to keep yourself occupied while having those conversations at the same time. It makes it a lot more open and easier to talk to your partner.
I'm fairly good at talking, but I'm not good with that face-to-face sitting there. I like to be moving. I like to be busy doing things, and that's when my talking becomes natural, because I'm busy and I'm doing something with my hands, and
you don't really have enough time to think about what you're going to say.
Yeah.
You just say how you feel because you're just doing something else.
You don't worry about, I guess, what you're going to say. You kind of just say whatever comes naturally.
Kayla said a beautiful thing. She said that you stop thinking and you just feel. And I think that's what you do when you start to get creative. You stop overthinking and you just feel and go with the process. And that's why you can tend to unravel things really quickly.
It was probably hard for me because I'm a very sporty person. Like, it was out of my comfort zone, but because it was in that safe environment, I felt like I wasn't judged. It became a lot easier for me to talk because I felt safe. I didn't feel judged, and it didn't matter if I stuffed up.
Three months on, you've done the piece and you get to look at that when you go in there. What's changed in the relationship?
That's a good question.
I actually think our communication and expressing how we're feeling at the time, rather than letting it bottle up and brew over time, we're like, well, we've done it before. Why don't we do it again? We just say how we feel. We've just spoken about how we're feeling. Why can't we just do that all the time now? And it really helps us communicate, express that emotion to each other, and it helps us understand how each other are feeling.